Good morning, you guys. It's Tammy, and I am on chapter 6 of A Little Light on Spiritual Law. Now, chapter 6 is located in the first section of the book, and the first section of the book is the basic laws of life, okay? So, the law of reflection. Earth is an amazing place of learning where you are constantly being given an opportunity to look at yourself in the mirror. The mirror of the universe is so honest and accurate that your deepest secrets show up in the reflections you see of yourself. Every single person and situation in your life is a mirror of an aspect of you, as within and so without. It goes on to say that you may not like what you see, but you may claim the reflection is distorted, and you rarely insist that it is someone else entirely that you see. But the spiritual law of reflection reminds us to look in the mirror and change ourselves. So, as a few examples that are given in this book, I won't give them all because there's quite a few, but I will bring up a few that I have underlined. So if you look at your reflection in the mirror, if you see that your eyes are heavy and you're tired, you want to be the change you wish to see. So it would be very important for you to eat a healthier diet and get more sleep so that the reflection changes. So it goes the same with saying, is someone you do not like in your life, when there is someone that you do not like in your life, do you spend time and energy trying to fix them or change them or telling them how they need to change? So you are trying to change the reflection, which is a form of denial. Rather spend time, so people who do this are known as rescuers, and they would rather spend time changing the reflection than working on themselves. So when you understand the law of reflection, you never again try to get someone else to be different in order that you feel more comfortable. You observe the outer and change the inner. Okay, so those people in your life that you do not like are showing you aspects of you that you do not feel comfortable with. Very interesting. So the point is to look within yourself for the aspects of you, okay? So we'll be doing some journaling on this, and I liked this sentence in here, and I basically put a heart next to it and wrote, touche. If someone in your life has an attribute that genuinely does not bother you, okay, it does not reflect you, you will not even notice it. So it's very interesting how we, as human beings, and we can see this all over the place, that person is a narcissist, that person is a ... that person is a... First of all, labels are really, really, like, as soon as I notice the use of a label, I instantly want to take the label away and go, what's the energy of it? Okay. The more a characteristic in someone else bothers you, the more your soul is trying to draw a reflection to your attention. So this law of reflection even has a lot to do with the shadow self and shadow work. So on a positive note, take anyone that you like, respect, or admire. Think about those qualities that you like. Those qualities are also extended within you. So sure, we can notice the negative, but are we noticing the positive? The whole point is we really want to start noticing what we like about our life, what we like about the people, even the ones that are bothering us. Can you find 3 things that you like for every one thing that you don't? The magic mirror of the universe is showing you a beautiful part of yourself that you may not even be in touch with. So if the universe really wants to draw your attention, it'll show you 3 times or 3 things. So, I mean, this is serious. If you see like the number 111 3 times in like 2 days, there's a message in there for that. If you notice 3 this or that, there's something about it showing up 3 times for you that is really, that could be your absolute check. The universe is speaking to me. So they also gave some interesting things. I found this area is this next area that I'm going to be talking about is I've been noticing just even the things in my own life, and I'll give you some examples of that after I sort of let you know what this is. Because everything is a reflection, okay? So water reflects your emotions or spirituality. If your emotions are leaking, you have unshed emotions. You may find your faucets drip, or your I'm going to leave this one out because it talks about your car later on. So if your tap drips, okay, so I literally have just replaced my kitchen tap yesterday. My tap was flooding my kitchen. Okay. Interesting, right? So, rivers and lakes, oceans carry the emotional and spiritual life force of an area. Okay. Are you drawn to turbulent seas, or are you drawn to tranquil lakes? So about 20 some years ago, there was a friend of ours, someone that we knew, not so much a close friend, but an acquaintance, someone I know from the area. Every time there was a storm where the lake was absolutely ravenous, he was drawn deeply to go swimming. How bizarre, right? So anyway, but also water symbolically washes and purifies at the same time, which makes sense. Okay. So fire. Okay, then it goes and talks about fire. Are you drawn to a campfire, or you are drawn where it's peaceful and all that? Or are you drawn to more of a rampaging, out of control fire? So fire represents anger and hostility on the negative, but fire is also a great transmuter of negative energy. Everything is a reflection, the law of reflection. Earth is solid. If you get stuck in the mud, it could be telling you something about your life. An earthquake would tell you that the foundations of your life you thought were secure are maybe not. So, but from earth, there is also growth. I love these paradoxes. With every spiritual awakening, there's a paradox, right? Air has great energy. It represents communication and new ideas. If you're sitting in a draft that irritates you, it may be someone's communication irritates you. A hurricane blows away outmodeled thinking from an area and heralds in the new. Fresh air also blows away the cobwebs. Okay, here's the other little part that I was leaving out. Just like the 4 elements, every part of your life could be reflecting you. Not could be, is reflecting you. Okay, let's look at your car, okay? I used to have a client whose tires, he would constantly be replacing tires. Now, what does that say? And back then I even said, okay, this is happening way too much. Clearly, your car's the universe is trying to tell you something. He would blow the tires. He'd be driving down the road, the tires would blow. He'd get flat tires, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, it does represent an aspect of you. If your brakes fail, it could be warning you to stop something that you're doing. The lights do not, if the lights don't work, then how can you see where you're going in life? Okay? The body gets scratched or dented. Maybe you're feeling a little tattered and battered. Maybe you are being more critical of yourself. The horn refuses to make a sound. Basically, maybe it's time for you to speak up for yourself. It says the example, a flat tire. Are you feeling deflated? Which is really interesting because, that guy, that client of mine, the friend / client of mine, I can see where he was feeling deflated. And I'll say because he worked so many hours a day. That guy probably worked 16-hour days. A dead battery, feeling run down, running out of energy. Your home also does too. And I remember when we first moved into this house, literally it took us 8 weeks to move. And we showed up and the lights went out that night. And we thought it was just the area. The main breaker went in the house. I only had half of the energy in my home for 3 weeks. It's pretty cool, eh? Of course, with your car, gears represent movement, having difficulty making a move, shifting your consciousness. Animals reflect the qualities and characteristics of their owners as well. Okay? We are complex people, it says. Animals will reflect different aspects of you. Ask someone what his or her animal is like. There's an entire section here about the examples along those lines. I'm not going to read everything. This is the Reader's Digest version of the law of reflection according to Tammy. So, all animals, plants, trees, and even crystals represent qualities. The oak tree in your garden represents solid, dependable aspects. Okay? So think about insects, your fear and loathing of insects, okay? Mirror your shadow side. Think of spiders or whatever. If you're like, okay, well, it would be really interesting to find out the spiritual aspects of spiders, and that's kind of probably the area of your life that requires your attention. Is your garden flamboyant and colorful? It externalizes an extroverted part of you, so, if it's neat and ordered and tidy, you're likely to be the same. And here's another example I gave. Okay, I even wrote down the story behind that. I have this thistle in my garden, like the plant thistle. And it's a hardy plant. It's almost like I might have to kill the whole garden to kill the thistle. And anyway, I'm going, what does this mean? I have to look at the energy of thistle. But the funny thing is back when I was editing my book, I noticed that there was a prayer in there saying that I'm willing to embrace the weeds in my garden, meaning I'm willing to embrace my faults or my foibles. And when I read that, I'm willing to embrace the weeds, I'm like, no, I'm not. So anyway, I just thought I had a giggle and I'm like, geez, I didn't realize that I had already told the universe that I was willing to accept these dumb thistles that were going to come in my life. Anyway, whatever comes in your life, look in the mirror and see what it has to teach you. Understand the law of reflection. So when we understand the law of reflection, we can expand our spiritual growth and look at what life is trying to tell us. And because our journey on earth becomes a fascinating and energizing, exciting experience. So there are 2 ways to interpret what you see in the mirror. You can see your projection or see an aspect of you that you attract. So to find out how you have attracted the reflection, be aware of how the person or situation makes you feel. Okay? So I liked that we talked about in the last video or 1 or 2 videos prior, I talked about the word makes me. You make me mad. You make me mad, not I am angry because. Okay, one is victim, one is empowered. So the way it's written here is not in an empowered way, it's more in a victimized way. So maybe firstly, you have to look at how something is making you feel first so that you actually notice how you are feeling and why. If you understand the difference there, okay? I feel ... versus you make me feel. No one makes me anything. I make me everything. So if it's in me, it's mine. Okay, regardless of what other person is doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If I've got the feeling, it belongs to me. And since feelings are time travelers, they've already been created. So, for further information on this topic of the law of reflection, there is the next law, which is called the law of projection, and then the previous law, which is the law of attraction. So, in closing, never try to change someone else, for they are reflecting you. Look within and change yourself. Namaste.